Hi, my name is Grace, and I am part of the customer success team here at Dr. Logic. And today we are going to be going over how to upload before and after photos, otherwise known as your photo gallery. So once you log into your Dr. Logic dashboard, you will go over to Content Multiplier on the left-hand side, and you'll click on Galleries. And this is how you'll start with your gallery tool. But before we get into the full gallery, I want to show you how to use your media library. Think about your media library as your photo library, much like you get on your desktop computer. It's a housing for all of the photos used or to be used on your Dr. Logic website. So if you have a bulk of photos of patients that you want to first load into your media library, and then choose from when you build out your galleries, it's going to make your job a little bit easier. It's also going to save some time because you're not uploading one by one. So to get to your media library, we'll hit Website Management, Media, and then this will bring you to your media library. Now to add to this library, you're going to click on this green button here. Select File from Computer, and this will then bring up your Finder on your personal computer. And here you can add multiple photos at once. So I'm going to highlight all of these photos, hit open, upload, and I'll wait for these to upload. Typically, I like to recommend that if you have a big group of photos, then go ahead and get them into your media library and then go run an errand, do something, kill some time while this runs, and then come back and continue on with your building of galleries. For the sake of time here, we only have 6 photos here, and this will be great for example purposes today. All right, now you see that all of these images are loaded in. Just something to note for our tool, we scrub all of the information as far as the file name, the patient name, we give it its own naming convention, so everything is HIPAA compliant within our tool. So let's go back to our gallery. Again, Content Multiplier, Galleries. And to start a new gallery, you'll click on this green button in the top right-hand corner, Add New. On the right-hand side, you get a guide to show you exactly where the information is going to be used at each step. Now, it's important to try to build this gallery in the order of the steps 1 through 6, so that way certain things that are triggered at each step are appropriately done before moving on to the next. So you'll notice here that a lot of these fields do not display. This is simply to create organization for you on your back end, as well as create date ranges and filters. This will all come together at the end when we show you what this built out gallery looks like. So for today's purposes, I'm going to use myself as a patient. So let's say that I went to Third Coast Plastic Surgery and I got a rhinoplasty. So now we're going to build my patient case. So I will do my first initial last name, put my birthday here, gender, ethnicity, height, weight. And of course, if you are focused primarily on facial plastic surgery, then height and weight don't really come into play here. So you can just leave those undisclosed. For breast and body procedures, I do recommend adding the height and weight fields in because that's going to create a filter for the searcher or the visitor to your website on the other end. We'll hit save there. From here, you'll have a drop down of your primary practitioners that are listed on your website. So again, this is just our test website. So we're just going to use our test Dr. Logic. If you have more than one location, whether that is your office or any surgical centers, those will also be options as well, which you can choose from. And then you can put your procedure date. So what this does is it creates the age at which this individual got the procedure done. So we collected birthday in step 1, we collect procedure date in step 2, it spits out a number, and then we create a range with that number. So let's say I got this done in the beginning of 2020. Another thing to note here is that if the patient is under the age of 18, there are certain procedures that then get removed from being able to be tagged to this procedure simply because of the underage protocol. So then you have all of your procedures listed right under here. Now keep in mind that procedures are going to coincide with that procedure list that is on your website. So each procedure has a dedicated list with content on it. Now, if you do not have a procedure page dedicated to a specific procedure, you will not see that on this list. However, I'll show you here in step number 3 where you can add that in. So this is going to create the gallery folder for this gallery. So like I said, we'll do rhinoplasty here. And then this is where you can add procedure tags. So think of procedure tags as the product or the type of product that was used, a technique that was used, any type of condition or any type of symptom that this patient was experiencing. Now, if you can't think of those right off the bat, that's totally fine. Our system has developed a list that pertain to each one of these procedures, and we'll start to give you some recommendations here. So you'll start to see what type of recommendations they are. Open rhinoplasty is a technique. Nasal hump, that was a condition. Nose job is another name for a rhinoplasty. Same thing with nose surgery. Now, I would recommend keeping these tags thorough but consistent. If you have 50 rhinoplasty cases, you should think about sticking to the same tags for those 50 as applicable. I don't want you to think about tagging this one with the first 10, the next one with the next 10, because again, these are going to act as filters. So when somebody clicks on that open rhinoplasty tag, any photo that is tagged with that procedure will then display. If this is the only gallery that's tagged with open rhinoplasty, then the filter system all of a sudden just becomes irrelevant. So you want to use this to your advantage. So I'm going to select a few more here. And then you can always add your own in. Say you came up with your own technique, or say that you are thinking of a symptom that this condition or that this patient had that you don't see here. You can always add that manually as well. You can save there, and then it'll bump you into photos. So here you can add your title of the photos. This is, front view, side view, profile view, however you want to summarize these two photos. Again, 2 photos is a set, so one before, one after. So for this example's sake, I'm just going to go profile view. And then from here, you can upload a photo. So again, this by default will pull up your media library, which we added those photos in at the beginning of this training session. However, let's say you still wanted to upload them one by one. You can do that as well. You can upload new image, select file from computer, and then it'll allow you to choose that single file. But since we already uploaded them all to the media library, we can save some time on upload speed and go ahead and directly select from the media library. Once you select that, of course, you see there's no load time, there's no wait time there. And then you'll get the opportunity to edit your thumbnail. So your thumbnail will be displayed on the full gallery case. Once they click onto the photo, the full image will be shown. So you want to think about getting the thumbnail that highlights the portion of the face or the portion of the body that you are wanting to draw attention to. So we've got this auto, landscape, portrait, and full. For this example, I'm going to do landscape, and of course you can resize, drag and drop wherever you want necessary, hit save. Now, one tip I want to give you guys about before and after photos is whatever orientation for your thumbnail that you pick for the before, pick that one for the after as well. So in this one, we did landscape. In this after photo, we'll do landscape as well. And that just ensures that the photos are nice and aligned. There's nothing out of whack. It looks really sloppy on your website if one is landscape and one is portrait. So that's just a recommendation from a cleanliness perspective that I recommend. And then the labels down here, before and after, those are defaulted. However, you can override those or add a little bit more to them. So for example, if we were doing, let's say this was a non-surgical rhinoplasty and we just left before as before, but then they got some injectables in their nose, we could do after 3 units of, and then you can just put whatever injectable you have used within this patient's nose. And then a quick caption. Again, the captions are not necessary, but you can use this caption area to quickly recap specifically what this set of photos show. So a profile view of our patient after 3 units of X injectable. Now, of course, you'll have to have at least one set of photos, but then you have the option to add more rows of photos. So let's say this was the profile view. You could add a front-on view for breast and body. That diving view is going to be really important as well. So you can keep adding different rows. Just, again, keep in mind this is going to be per patient. So you don't want to put a different patient in this patient profile case. So to save some time here, I'm just going to stick with my 1 row of photos. We'll hit save, and you'll notice that every time I hit save, it knocks me into the next step. So description, this is number 5. This is probably the most important part whenever it comes to really optimizing your galleries. So what you want to do with your case headline is you want to target a couple of things. Number 1, the type of procedure that they had. So for me, it's a rhinoplasty here. Number 2, you want to include the area that you're located in. So I'm in Plano, Texas. However, other surrounding areas are McKinney, Prosper. So think of neighborhoods, neighboring cities. If you are living in a big metro area and you have a smaller subset of cities that you want to target, think of those terms in relation to area. And then the third is you may want to also consider including the symptom that this patient had. So in this example, bump reduced with rhinoplasty on Plano, Texas woman. So we'll use exactly that. And this case line will also act as your H1 as well. So the reason why we want to make sure this is fully optimized is because that is going to be what shows up in your search results as somebody is searching for these terms. Your case description is, think of it as a case study. You want to give a summary of the patient as far as where they're from, kind of their general demographic, as well as why they came in. So they were experiencing X, Y, and Z. We recommended they had a open rhinoplasty for these reasons. You can look at her results below. You'll hit save. And then finally, the last step is called our content section. Now think of your content section as a bonus section. This is somewhere that you can continue to add more content if you feel that you didn't really cover it all in the description, or if you want to do something specific to this patient. So if they left you a patient testimonial, you could type that here. If you want to put, FAQs about this type of procedure, you can put that here. If you want to write about credentials on yourself or your practice, why choose Third Coast Plastic Surgery, you can list those there as well. Again, that comes down at the bottom of the page and it's completely optional, so you can always leave that blank. That's the final step. So once we hit finish, we'll press OK. And then you'll notice here, now it's filed under that rhinoplasty category. It's still unpublished though. So anytime you see this red toggle, that means it's not visible on the website. And we want to make sure that you see it on your website before it goes live. So in order to do so, we'll click on this blue button here. And once you click on that, it will open up a new tab with the gallery that you've just built. So now you'll see that case headline comes here at the top. you'll see all those filters that we created by putting in that patient information at the very beginning. We'll come over here and create different filters. So if I wanted to see all of the galleries on Third Coast Plastic Surgery website that were patients between the ages of 18 and 29, I could click on this and it would then show me all of those galleries. Now, again, this is a testing environment, so we don't have that fully built out quite yet, but that is what's going to happen on your Dr. Logic website. You'll also have a photo right here of the surgeon who did it. And then finally, of course, you can see your before and after photos. If you click on that before photo, you'll notice that is a full screen photo, and same thing with the after. If you're happy with that, you can come back into your gallery tool, and then you can toggle this on by pressing this red button. It'll give you a little disclaimer, and then you can hit publish. Gallery has been published. That means it has now been added to your website. If you want to edit it, so say I looked at this, I said, I don't really like this case headline here. You could always come back in here, press that yellow pencil button, and again, you'll go back to the same place you were before, this time being able to click through the different steps and making any type of edits that you would like. Once you hit save, you can go back to your list and then publish that gallery once again to ensure that it is exactly how you like it. All right, so that's how you build a new gallery. I'm going to show you a couple of things here in the gallery tool that you can do. So on the left-hand side, you'll see the different number of cases that you have per procedure. So let me open up the rhinoplasty one. So here's the one that we just built. Here is another test one. And say that you were really proud of this one rhinoplasty. That's the first thing that you want your patients or your visitors to your website to see, and you want that to show up at the top. If you hover over here on the right-hand side, you can drag and drop that, let it go, and it'll save that priority. So now that gallery that we just created and dragged to the top will always be shown at the top of the rhinoplasty category. If at any time you have a patient who had given you consent before and then you realized, hey, actually, there's identifying factors on that patient, or you want to unpublish it for whatever reason, it's very simple. All you have to do is click on this and it's now taken off of your website. So that is it on galleries. Thank you so much for your time. And if you have any questions, just reach out to your CSM and they will help you out here. If you haven't received our gallery guidelines document that outlines all of these steps in detail, feel free to ask your customer success manager for that as well, and they can provide that. I would recommend having that out in front of you for building your first couple of galleries, just to ensure that you're hitting all the steps correctly. There's a bunch of tips and tricks in there on how to get the best SEO benefit out of them as well. But thank you guys so much, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.